on board in terms of trying to help developing countries, recover their stolen loot. And it's a work in progress, but it's true. The Swiss, for instance, have in their laws, and they showed me the provisions, that for them to be allowed to restitute funds, they have to be sure of what it's going to be applied for. It's unfortunate.
But
we're sovereign countries.
Well, these are the issues that many Nigerians cannot understand because the popular opinion on the streets would be, it's our money.
We can do what we want with it. But this is only with regards to Switzerland. There's no other country that I know that has a similar provision. And I took this up with the Swiss foreign minister. I said, well, listen, we're a sovereign country, and this is our money, and you accept that this is our money. And they said, well, we're really sorry, these are the provisions. It applies not just to Nigeria, but to any other country. And if we don't agree, and we had to, it took us some time to agree on the projects that those monies would be applied to, it will not be possible for us to restitute. So it's not an easy job. The Attorney General is doing a great job, and as I said, Mr. President has laid the framework, and a lot of the leaders of the Western world are really on board, and slowly but surely we're getting there.
There have also been pledges from some major countries about lending a hand to Nigeria in its fight against insurgency, but again, it's seen most of the time as what's been propagated in the media, and how much of that support actually comes through, given our relations with these countries?
A lot. Well, it depends how we can start from our immediate neighbors. We have a multinational joint task force, Cameroon, Chad, Niger, Benin, and we're all cooperating, and we really cannot thank enough the governments of those countries, Cameroon, Chad, and Niger, because they really helped us to reverse the tide of battle against Boko Haram, and they made enormous sacrifices. That's one. Then farther afield, the other countries have really come on board. There was a time when there was a trust deficit, where a number of potential allies in the Western world were not happy with the way we were prosecuting the war, and pretty much had an embargo in place on giving us arms. They felt that no sooner did they provide these, they would fall into Boko Haram hands and so forth. But I think that President Buhari has been able to show single-mindedness and commitment to addressing these security challenges, and they have confidence in him, and for that reason they have been providing us with weaponry.
Some citizens say if the West is not forthcoming, what about the East?
Yes, we are cooperating with all countries, and we're getting support from not just the East, around countries in the Gulf areas as well, and also Western countries. A lot of them are forthcoming. We know that the U.S. Congress is not as supportive with regards to certain kinds of weaponry. Like there's a night vision equipment for planes. The Super Tucana, for instance, has been blocked in the U.S. Congress because there are, I think, about 3 or 4 senators that have issues with some of the stories they're hearing about human rights violations in the Northeast, and for that reason they're blocking the sale of Super Tucana planes to Nigeria. But we're engaging with the U.S. and we've heard some very positive words from President Trump and the Secretary of State on that issue.
Just a little bit about our trade relations with some of these countries. It would seem there is a shift to China, for instance. But again, people raise issues and say, with what Nigeria has been through, shouldn't we be a little bit circumspect in the dealings with China?
Yeah, and I think Mr. President, well, I know Mr. President as well. Nigeria first. We have to be self-reliant. We cannot, as a policy, situate our economic destiny in the hands of anybody, be they the West, be they the East. We have to do what we can do for ourselves, and then we engage with countries on our terms and to suit our interests.
Yes, on our terms, but if you're operating like we are most of the time from a disadvantaged position,
True.
how much clout can you pull with those countries?
You're absolutely right. I mean, our bargaining power is not that as strong as it could be, but it is also, because 180 million people with huge natural resources. Nigeria is a very attractive bride, to many, to most countries of the world, and we have, we are indeed, we're a big market for many countries, so we do have leverage, we do have, a bargaining power, but you're right, you're absolutely right. I think the basic premise of your question is right, that every country, as I said to you at the outset, is them first. It's China first. It's the US first. Trump is not saying anything new. It's Germany first. It's Britain first. And it should be also Nigeria first, and it is Nigeria first. So there's no country out there that is going to have as its prime objective making Nigeria a great country. It's not going to happen, and it's not going to be. So we have to do what we have to do in engaging these countries to ensure that it inures to the benefit of our country.
Back to the regional body, you have set up put a mechanism in place to ensure that when Nigeria goes out for positions, regional positions, for instance, it gets all the support. That's arising from what happened the last time we sought a position here. How far with that? And well, it ties into what we've always said, that we're the big brother, but when it comes to seeking positions, the other countries are not in a hurry to grant Nigeria that support.
Well, I don't know. We don't do too badly in terms of position. We have the ADD. We have a Deputy Secretary General of the UN, and a number of other positions. But your point is right. You're right. I think that when we go for these positions, I think we have to now have a conscious approach for going for high-profile positions, and it's a question of just preparedness. Okay. I've never bought into the narrative that there are countries that are sort of against Nigeria, because okay. I've run for positions at the international level, and I know how these things work, and it's just a question of, working hard at it.
Minister, it's been interesting talking to you. All too soon 1 hour has gone through. We hope we'll ask you to come again. There are so many issues that we'd like to talk about regarding Nigeria's foreign policy, but we thank you for availing us this opportunity.
Thank you. It's been a real pleasure, and you've been extremely engaging. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, I've been speaking with Foreign Affairs Minister Geoffrey Onyeama, and that's our program today. Next week, we'll reach you again on NTA 1 I am Cyril Stover. Bye for now.